This is McFly Angler.
And it starts now.
The hooks I will be using today are the Gamakatsu SL11-3Hs in size 4, but any longer shank saltwater hook will do. Start by placing the hook securely in your vise. For thread, I will be using Vivus 140 power thread in orange, but whatever thread you use, make sure it's a strong thread. Start your thread right behind the hook eye, then wrap back a few times before snipping off the waist. Then build up a small thread base to put the dumbbell eyes on. Now we want some small lead dumbbells like these from Hairline. Place the dumbbells on top of the hook shank about an eye length back from the eye of the hook. Then make X wraps and under wraps to secure it into place. And adjust the positioning to make sure it's perfectly perpendicular on the hook. Now bring your thread back to the bend of the hook. And then come back up a wrap or two. I like to secure the eyes in with some brush-on super glue. Now we need some flashy dubbing. I like this UV2 Diamond Bright by Spirit River in rust orange. Pull out a small amount like so and pull apart a few times in your fingers to align the fibers. Now place on top of the hook in the center of the bunch and tie it in with a couple wraps. Then pull the forward facing fibers rearward and tie those down as well. Now this fiber is a little too long, so just pinch tightly about a half a hook shank length back and break off the fibers like so. But keep that extra dubbing as we will use it soon. Now for the legs. These orange tip silly legs work great. Just one is all we need. Double over the leg and align the sides where the start of the orange is. Then tie this in so that the orange starts just about where the dubbing ends. When tying these down, split the two sections as you tie in on either side of the hook like so. Then tie down to the start of the dubbing section. Clip off any waste. Now take that waist dubbing that you pulled off earlier and dub it onto your thread. Wrap a small collar right behind the legs like so. Now we will need to make a brush from an EP style fiber like this water silk from Fly Tyers Dungeon, which is less expensive and works just as good. And we will also need some dubbing with small legs in it like the sand crab dubbing. I have shown detailed brush instructions before, so I will not be explaining how to make the brush here, but you can see the sped up video on me making this one. I'll put a link down with another video of where I've done detailed instructions. Pull back the fiber from the end of the brush and then tie it down tight. Once it is secure, then grab some cutters and cut off the excess wire. Make sure you push down the wire tag with your fingernail or it will cut your thread. Now to make the legs. You could use the thicker standard ultra chenille for larger size flies, but for this size, I'm using the micro size. Cut a piece of chenille about as long as the shank of your hook. Then cut two more just like it. For a more realistic look, burn the ends of the chenille so they taper to a point, like so. Tie in the first piece close to the start of the dubbing brush with an X-wrap over the top. Look at it from above to ensure it is tied in right in the middle of the chenille, and then pull it forward and make a few tight wraps behind it to tie it down tight. Advance your thread about halfway down the hook shank and then tie in another piece of chenille the same way. Then advance your thread up to just behind the dumbbells and tie another piece of chenille there also. When tying these in, make sure you do not tie it down too tight or it will angle too far forward like this one did. Now we will need to wrap the brush up the hook shank, weaving it between the chenille legs. This can be tricky, but just take your time. Try to make 2 wraps in front of the legs, 2 wraps between each set of legs, and 2 wraps behind the legs. Then pull the brush forward like so and make 1 wrap underneath it. To ensure you don't trap too many fibers, grab your scissors or a bodkin and brush the fibers out of the way of the thread. Make 2 wraps to secure it in tight and then pull everything rearward and wrap tightly in front of it. Now just clip off the rest of the brush and push down the sharp wire and wrap over it to secure it tightly. At this point, I whip finish and remove the thread to get it out of my way for the next step. Use a bodkin to pick out any trapped fibers. Pull up the fibers on the bottom of the fly and make sure the legs are clearly out of the way. Then make a straight cut and clean up any extra fibers that are sticking out towards the bottom of the fly. Now this goes without mention, but don't cut the silly legs or the chenille legs. Now pull the fibers up on the top of the fly like so, and make an angle cut from the hook eye to the point of the hook. You will also want to trim any errant fibers that you missed on the first cut. I also get in close at the front of the hook here and trim these fibers a little more flush. Then pull the fibers outward on one side of the fly and cut just above the chenille legs, at an angle like so. You will want to touch up this trim a little more by getting between each leg with some cuts as well to expose more of the chenille legs. Do the same thing on the other side also. You can see here how I'm getting in with some fine point scissors to clean up between each leg. When you're happy with the look, then start your thread again at the head of the fly. Now for the shell casing. Mallard flanks with their mottled look work great for this. You want to select the right size feather, and preferably one with the right curve as well. This feather is just a little too large for this size fly. You can measure a feather against the hook to see how it will turn out. Pull off all the unwanted fibers from the base of the feather like so. And you can see the shape here. Now I didn't pull enough from this feather, so I will be pulling off just a few more fibers here. I then clip out a few fibers from the tip of the feather like so. This helps it sit correctly on the hook. Then slide the feather down the hook so the split tip goes between the hook bend. Make 2 wraps to hold the feather into place, and then adjust by positioning the feather so it sits directly on top of the fly like so. Then when you're happy with the positioning, hold the feather into place and make a few more tight wraps to keep it positioned that way. Then pull the feather stem rearward and tie it down as well. Now you can clip off the feather stem and whip finish the fly. To make this fly more durable and smooth out the head, I like painting on some of this Solarez ultra thin resin and curing it into place. And there we have it, a sand flea that has realistic looking legs and a great looking shell back. I almost forgot to mention, clip the silly legs so they're about as long as one hook shank. Now these aren't too hard to tie, so you can fill a box quickly. And they fish hook point up, so you won't be losing them on the bottom as often. As you know, I work closely with both Risen Fly and Dooley's Fly Fishing. I go to www.risenfly.com to get as much of the materials as I can. They sell their own branded hooks, tools, rods, reels, and more. Great deals on everything, and everything they sell is super high quality. Now for stuff that Risen does not sell, I go to www.dooliesflyfishing.com, who sells all the name brand tying materials. Both of these shops have excellent prices, and better yet, they both are offering you all a discount. Type in McFly at checkout when visiting either of these shops, and you will get an additional discount on top of their already amazing prices. Well, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and also hit that like button. I will see you guys on the next video. Now you go catch some fish.